Well, I've looked at trying to get a contrast of images. So on the one side, you'll see ones which you might see in a tourism magazine, but on the other side, I also want to show another side of London, maybe something a bit grittier, something a bit harder.
Well, let's have a look. Nothing kind of explains your work better than your work. So let's have a look at a few of some of the images. So this is the first one. Explain this one. I mean, it's an iconic view, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's actually...
we're zooming through them. Sorry.
OK, the first one was, you know, I think it shows quite a clean view of London. And the second one, the old man, is, you know, I think it shows a more realistic side of it.
So you don't mind whether it's people, you see someone here playing a traffic cone, or places. You don't have a preference. No,
as long as it tells a story, I think that's the important thing. As long as somebody can get something from it. And
in terms of kind of going out and photographing, do you go out with an idea in your head, or do you just always have your camera on you and it's whatever kind of graces your path?
Yeah, more about taking the camera out. Sometimes with a theme, but I think it helps just to go out and be open to what's out there.
And when it comes to photography in London, do you think it's a bit of a crowded market?
Yeah,
I mean, what's
absolutely.
it like being a photographer trying to compete in that, I guess?
Well, I mean, it can be disheartening, but at the same time, you know, you should be doing it for yourself. If you're enjoying it, then that's the main thing.
And let's just find out a bit more about where this exhibition is, how long it's on for, so if people want to go and see it, they can.
Sure. Well, it's in the Artisan Coffee Shop in Ealing, Broadway, and it's going to be on for the next 3 months till October.
Oh, it's a good chance to see it then. Right, well, let's talk about your next project then. So what's the plan for that?
Well, I'd like to actually focus more on the individuals, the people that live in London, because we've got quite a diverse spectrum of nationalities and you know, people from every different background. And I'd like to really focus on the people that live here. And
how do you... Is that going to be a case of walking down the street and stopping people who look like they've got an interesting face?
Yeah,
or?
It is, yeah. And I think I'd like to pitch to them that, you know, we'll take you into a different environment. So, you know, we may see somebody who's typically from a certain place and say, look, we'll put you in a different environment and see how you feel. And, yeah, so set up a scene. And
how did you get into photography in the first place?
It was actually... You know, we've all taken photos for a long time, but it was actually, I spent some time in Guyana in South America, and I had the chance to live in the rainforest, stay in the rainforest for quite a long time. And, you know, you see things which you just wouldn't ordinarily see, so that piqued my interest, and from that point on, then I just got hooked.
Incredible. And in terms of, we can see some of the images here, so often photographers, you know, either take animal shots, or they take landscape shots, or they take human shots. Is there anything that you prefer doing, or do you just...
I go through phases. If I feel a bit uncomfortable with talking to humans, or like talking to people and saying, can I take a photo, then I'll probably stick to landscapes. But, you know, right now I think I really fancy just the human interaction. I was going to say, you need the courage to stop Londoners and ask for photos, aren't you?
Right, OK, Phil Hatcher, thank you so much for joining us this evening.